and I'm still trying to figure out exactly how or why letting people go, why it's tied to time. I'm not really sure. I just know that it is.
I don't think it's time. I think it's space. They take up space.
Ooh, you're so right.
Yes, it's they don't take up time. They take up space.
These people were dragging you down because their energy was so dense that they were keeping you in the linear timeline. And so when you released them, you released that dense energy that was dragging you down. So you were able to
Float
ascend
up
and elevate
Yes.
past the linear timeline. And now you're able to exist in the time and space where anything can happen at any moment. And that's why we have to let people go. People, places, things. Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of She's Aligned. Today we're going to be talking about the upcoming full moon in Aries, and also how letting go will help you up a level, which is really aligned with full moon energy, because full moons are all about releasing and letting things go. And we know how hard it can be to let go, but we also have seen how powerful it is to let things go. So we're going to be diving into that today and just kind of sharing our experiences around letting go and how that has helped us up level.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of reminded me of like the detached energy.
Yes.
I love that.
So I think we should talk about how to detach, because people are always saying detach from your manifestation if you want it to come, and like, you know, detach from the things that you want, or just let it go. But it's easier said than done. So I think that I don't know if we want to talk about it now or later, but
I think we should first get into the full moon because I think it'll fit perfectly with the topic.
Okay.
It's funny because that happened with the new moon in Virgo. We had a topic and then we were like, oh, it just
fits perfectly
with the moon. So
aligned.
Yeah, it just shows you that it's just aligned.
Literally.
And it's all just, it's aligning perfectly. But I am very, very excited for this full moon in Aries. This is this full moon is for the Aries. So if you have Aries in your top 3, this full moon is going to impact you greatly. And that's if you work with the energy of the moon, obviously. It'll just kind of help propel you forward in your manifestation. But oh my God. Okay. The reason why I'm so excited to talk about this is because I feel like both Natalia and I have been in this energy already leading up to the full moon. Did we want to tap into kind of like the meaning of Aries and the full moon first, or do we want to first go into the energy of it?
I think like last time I liked that you did the astrology, and then I was like, energy.
Okay. So let me just kind of do the definition behind like what a full moon means and what Aries means. So a full moon is all about releasing, shedding, letting go. The full moons are still very important with manifesting, because a lot of people believe that you shouldn't manifest with the full moon, but you can manifest with the full moon, because in order to manifest, you also have to let go. So that's a good way of using the full moon when you're trying to manifest. So again, full moons are about letting go, releasing, shedding. What are some other words that come to me? But those are basically the top 3. Now, Aries, beautiful sign.
Yes.
Beautiful sign. Not only are they the first sign of the astrological calendar, they are the leaders, they are the starters, they are the number 1 in the zodiac calendar. They are the first house, which really represents your body image, yourself. And I think what this is really, I think the energy combined with the full moon is so perfect, because as we worked with the new moon in Virgo, there was the energy of like, what have you been wanting to start, and what are some things that you need to work to, and what are some little details that you need to work on in order to start your manifestation. Well, now that we're going into this full moon, what do you need to release to start with the energy of Aries? So that's why I think this is very perfect, like very, very beautiful and perfect with the episode that we're going into today, because this can be anything from relationships that are holding you back, whether it's like love relationships, whether it's friendships, whether it's family, or this could be what do you need to release that you are constantly doing every single day in order for you to start, as an Aries, that manifestation, or what is something that you have wanted to start in the past but haven't been able to do because you haven't shed the specific part of you that hasn't allowed for you to start whatever you want to do. So we always go back to an easy example of like losing weight. You know, you've been wanting to lose weight forever and you're finally ready, but you realize that you drink Starbucks every single day. Well, that's something that you have to let go of, right? Or you want to stop drinking, but you're surrounded by friends who do nonstop drinking. Well, unfortunately, you have to let go of those friends in order to start on this new path of being sober, right? So that's kind of like the energy that I'm not only just feeling, but also picking up on when I tie in what Aries really means, and also the energy of a full moon. And Aries, again, is all about self. It's all about sensuality. It's very like coming home to yourself as well, putting you first. So what do you need to let go of that's holding you back for you to continue putting yourself forward to manifest whatever you're trying to manifest? So that's kind of like my little take on Aries and then the full moon.
I love that. So I feel like mine is brief because like literally the visual I'm getting is just someone like lighting a house on fire and just like, and then blowing out the match, and they're just like, I did that.
Okay, so I love that you said that. Aries is ruled by Mars. Mars is the planet of aggression and conflict. So I think typically what we would see is that Aries wants that fire, wants that the conflict, wants to go head as a ram, wants to go head first with the problem. But I feel like what's happening right now is there's conflict that's going to be coming up, but you choose to walk away from the conflict for the sake of your own peace. And for the sake of like your goals and your manifestations, because I think as long as you keep engaging in the conflict, you are lowering your energy back to that, down to that. So I don't think it places you in the right energy to properly manifest. I think this is kind of like, oh, people want to start shit with you. Okay, cool. Like you're like you turn, not that you turn the other cheek, but you're like, you can literally sit in your own little pity party and you can throw a tantrum, but I'm literally looking at you laughing and now I'm walking away.
Yeah, that makes sense, because I was like thinking of the visual I was getting, and that's how I'm seeing it, is like you burn it and you leave and you're and you're good. You're like smiling. You're like, I burned that shit down and I'm good, because that's the energy that I was getting, is like burn shit to the ground energy, which is very Aries. Like I've done that so many times in my life where I've just been like, burn it to the ground. And I just literally like burn it. And it honestly feels so good to do that. So, you know, I know it can be hard if you're not like naturally inclined that way, but it does feel so good to just burn shit to the ground, especially something that has been weighing heavily on you, something that you feel is holding you back, something that is causing resistance, even something or someone who all they do is add negativity to your life. Like that, it feels so important to just be like, you know what, like I'm gonna burn this. And I think the reason that burn is so important with the energy of Aries is because when you burn something down, there's no bringing it back. Like if you think of like, you know, if I was to take this notebook and like literally burn it, what it's gonna become is a pile of ashes. It can never be what it was again. I can take the ashes and transmute that energy and turn it into something else, but even if I did that, it is a completely new thing. So I think that there's an energy of, what are you ready to burn to the ground, with the understanding that this will never come back and it will never again be the same.
Ooh.
And being okay with that. Because that is how you experience transformation. In order for something to transform, it either has to evolve, it has to transmute. It cannot stay the same. And so in whatever you're leaving behind, there has to be an understanding that you are not the same. You're not the same person anymore. The situation will never be the same again, and that is a good thing. You have to allow yourself to create something new by killing off something that is not good. It's like removing weeds from a plant so that something new can grow. You need to get rid of the weeds, and I think that's what energetically, like, this full moon is calling us to do.
I feel like we're already in
the episode that happened last time too. It's just so aligned. It's so aligned.
Yes.
Okay. We should be called Too Aligned.
Okay. So before we dive deeper into the topic, let's go over some reminders again, which is what would Nat do, and then also the upcoming workshop before we dive into the topic, because this is going to get so juicy. I literally don't even have like any notes or anything, so I'll have to remember to write things down because I always forget them. But okay, so I believe next week we're filming our first What Would Nat Do, aren't we? Yes, so don't forget to submit your questions. You can submit them anonymously if you don't want us to know who you are. So go ahead and submit those in. Again, not that we're saying that we have the most perfect advice, but if you're ever wondering what we would do in a specific situation, send those in. If you need advice, anything, just let us know, and we'll be answering those questions next week.
And the workshop?
The workshop.
You want me to talk about it?
Yes.
Okay. So the workshop is happening September 29th? September 29th, which is a Friday, and we are working with this full moon in Aries energy that we just talked about. You guys, we've had a few meetings, and in the last meeting, I think all of our minds were blown as we were planning this workshop. It's going to be amazing. Like, if you are ready to manifest from a really like powerful place, from your feminine energy, this workshop is for you. I don't want you guys to be turned off or scared by the word sex magic because I know it's a very strong word. It's not how it sounds. Like, we're literally manifesting and using our feminine sacral energy. So we're going to be doing a lot of releasing in the workshop. You're going to be learning about how to use sex magic, how to use your sacral energy to manifest, and we're going to be embodying with belly dance. So even if you're not a dancer, it doesn't matter. That's not what it's about. This is about embodiment. This is about releasing under the full moon. It's going to be so powerful. Like, literally, our intention is that you're going to be transformed through this workshop. So come ready to receive, come ready to, like, what we just talked about. That's what we're going to do with you. So if you're like, I want to do that, but I don't know how, come to this workshop. We're going to do it all together. You're literally going to leave having become a different person. I really believe that. So get your ticket and come join us. If you're feeling called and you're like, I don't know what this is, it doesn't matter. Follow your intuition and sign up. And I hope to see you there.
There's going to be a beautiful release happening after you learn about sex magic and how to use sex magic, and before the belly dance. So we're going to do a powerful release to make sure that you're releasing any shit that doesn't need to be there. And then we're finishing it off with the embodiment, which is going to be so beautiful.
Yes.
But okay, now for the topic, because I'm so excited to get into this. Oh
I think you're more excited because you're like went through it, and I'm over here like going through it.
True, but a part of me is also like, okay, what else needs to be shed, you know?
That's true.
You know, it's so
only
funny.
been growth. So you're like, what else can I get rid of?
You know, it's funny. Not too long ago, something happened. Someone blocked us. And we were like, hello? We were like, what's happening? And so,
I like how we love. We're like, someone blocked us and we think it's funny. Well, we do though. Literally, Nat has been in this pattern of like having to cut people. Like, it's not even her cutting people out. It's people literally removing themselves from her life this whole year. But every time someone has removed themselves, her business like takes off.
Yeah.
Every single time. And so the last time it happened, I was like, 3K more because like literally her Instagram went from, what was it, at 3K to like now it's at 13K in like a few weeks. Like her business went like freaking viral. And so every time someone cuts her off, I'm like, oh, here's another 3K followers coming your way.
She's like, who else should you cut off? I'm like, let me brainstorm. And I'm like, laugh my ass off, JK.
You're like, I don't have anyone else to cut off.
Yeah, so this is going to be a very good episode. I think we're a full embodiment right now of the power of letting go and what no longer serves you in order for you to really get to that next version of yourself. So this is going to be a juicy topic. We're probably going to trigger some people, as we always do, but just know that whenever if you feel like we're triggering you, just know that it's coming from a place of love. Natalia and I are both Aries. I have Capricorn, she has Taurus. And we are blunt and we are honest. And we do it because we think it's the right thing to do.
We're like that with each other.
Yeah,
too.
We're like that with each other. We don't believe in sugarcoating anything because you don't learn and you don't grow from sugarcoating. So unless you can handle 2 Aries, then don't come our way. But yeah, we're like that with each other. I'm like that with my family, with my boyfriend, and it always comes from a place of love. I will not sugarcoat something to make you feel better if that isn't the truth.
Yeah, like we're not here to baby you guys because you're not a baby, you're an adult, and we're treating you like an adult.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what it is.
And I am a firm believer that you create your own reality, so you need to be told the truth.
And if you don't want to be treated like an adult, even though you're the age of an adult and you're still behaving like a child, I highly suggest going to therapy.
Yes. Get help. Okay, let's get in.
Just a little disclaimer.
Let's get into the topic.
I have a thought.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so with the concept of letting go, I think there's 2 aspects to it. I think there's the external and the internal. So to me, the external is letting go of people, places, and things that you know are no longer serving you, are holding you back, things like that. And then the internal is you letting go of certain versions of yourself that have those behaviors and patterns that hold on to those things or that attracted those things or create those things. So like, for example, maybe it's letting go of certain people externally, and internally letting go of the behavior of people pleasing, or externally letting go of a situation because it's no longer aligned with you, and internally letting go of the you who holds on to things too long because you're afraid of the unknown. So I think one of the reasons why letting go is so challenging is because you're actually being asked to do it both internally and externally, and you're having to move through the process internally of like, I have to let go of a certain version of myself, a certain pattern or behavior that I have that has been holding on to this. You need to like let that go in order to let go of whatever the external thing is, because then you're actually getting to the root of what is attracting that thing or keeping that thing, so that you don't manifest it again in someone else or in another situation. Because if you still keep that pattern and behavior or energy, even if you let that specific thing go, it's just going to come right back to you in another way or in the same package. So yeah,
I also have a flipped version of that as well. I also think that sometimes we want to up level and change who we are, that we're ready to shed that, but we don't, and we hold on to the old version of ourselves because we don't want to trigger people because of the people that we have surrounded ourselves with or the narrative that they know of us.
Oof, yeah.
So I know that that was a huge issue for me for such a long time. I knew that I wanted to help people. I knew that I wanted to make content to help people, but I was so scared of triggering people. And let me tell you something, those people that were triggered are out of my life now. And it's not one person, it's not two people, it's not three, it's not four. It's like a handful of people that are no longer in my life anymore. And that had to happen in order for me to get to my next level. And I knew for a long time I was like a caterpillar waiting to become a butterfly, but I kept being a caterpillar because everybody else around me stayed a caterpillar.
Fuck those caterpillars.
So I felt like I couldn't transform, like I couldn't fly, like I couldn't be this beautiful butterfly because I was terrified of triggering people. So I think that yes, sometimes we need to let go of our own internal struggles, but I think sometimes we're ready to do that, but we feel like we can't because the people that we surround ourselves with won't accept that or will be triggered by your transformation.
Yep.
So I wanted to put that in really quick. I remember there was a time I wanted to make YouTube videos, and I did start making YouTube videos, and that one friend would always tell me, you're fake, you're fake, you're fake, like you don't even talk like that, you're so fake. And I'm just like,
what the heck?
I'm like, yo, like I'm literally
trying
to like, I want to transform myself, like I'm ready to go to the next level, and I feel like I can't because I'm being made fun of for it, and I'm being held down by it, you know? So we have to just keep in mind to ask ourselves, like, are you ready to transform, and are you not doing it because you're scared of triggering people? Or is it that people around you are in support, but you're just afraid of your own power, and it's your own internal struggles that you have to let go of?
Yeah.
So I think it could go both ways, but that's a very good way to start the topic. Yeah.
I wrote down how many people do you have to cut off to get 10K followers? Because you're like, it's not one person and it's not two. So in my head, I'm like, how many? How many do I need to cut off to get that many followers?
Yeah.
No, but one thing I want to say too is like, because with what you were saying in that example you gave of, you know, I'm trying to make YouTube videos and this friend is making fun of me. I think to even show the other side of that and like the beauty of letting certain people go, I think you and I have always been very supportive of each other, but even more so now, I think for me it's been really beautiful to experience like helping you with Magic Market and you helping me with my website, because you know I was like sitting there being like, I would have never thought to put these pictures in here. Like, you know, there's certain things that I'm like, if it wasn't for your help, I would probably not even have rebranded myself.
I wouldn't
at this
have
point.
an organized email inbox right now.
And so, but to me, it's like that shows the beauty of letting certain people go, to see how there are people that can be in your life who are so supportive that it's like they literally like trigger your cocoon process to become that butterfly that you were saying, you know, because now, you know, I literally spent like all weekend working on my website because I was so dang excited. But if it wasn't for Nat, like, you know, being like, let me send you these color palettes and like helping me with the website, I think I would still be a freaking caterpillar, where now I'm just like, oh my gosh, I feel so embodied, you know? And I just wanted to put that in there as like a example of what happens when you do let people go, because I think we've all had friends or family members or people around us who are not supportive, who make us scared. And I think it's especially hard when it's family, because those are people you can't get rid of. Like, there's certain people in our life we cannot get rid of, and if they're not supportive, that can be very challenging. And you know how there's that saying, like, you become like the 5 people you surround yourself with. I recently heard that there's a new study that shows that not only are you impacted by the 5 people that you're closest to, it actually extends further than that. So who those people are hanging out with, that impacts you too.
Oh, I believe that.
So if you're choosing, like, let's say if I choose 3 friends and I think they're good enough or whatever, but the people they're hanging out with are a bad influence on them, that still will impact me even if I don't know that person. So I think this is why who we have in our circle is so important, because they're being influenced by that person and that influence will trickle down at some point. So Anyway, I have a lot of thoughts.
I think you should continue with those thoughts.
I'll pause there. I don't know. I feel like I'm all over the place, but that's just
too.
like, we just have so much to say about this, you guys. Like, I mean, just take it all in because this is a whole ass topic.
Oh my gosh. I'm like trying to sort out
all the thoughts.
Yes, because there's so many. So, okay, so like let's say there's someone that's like, you know what, I have that friend that isn't in support, or whenever I do something, I'm being made fun of. And I know we're giving the advice, like maybe it's time to detach yourself from that, from that friendship, and to let go. But they have a hard time doing that. Do you have any specific advice for them?
Really use this Aries energy to burn shit down, because I actually feel like I had to let go of friendships at the end of last year, and then I feel like I kind of got a break at the start of this year and watched Nat go through it. And somehow I was also affected. I was guilty by association. And then now it's starting for me, but not with friendships. Now it's like a different circle.
Yeah.
But so I'm thinking back to when I had to cut off friends, and it's hard, especially friends that maybe you've known for a long time. Because, you know, I think, at least for me, I know what I was going through was like, oh, but the history we have together.
Yes, that was a big excuse I always used.
It's hard because you're like, I've known them for so long, and how can I end the friendship now? Blah, blah, blah. You think of the history you have, right? Which is fine. However, just because you have history with somebody, that does not mean that they belong in your present or your future. If they have not shown that they are people who deserve to be in your present or your future, permission to cut them off.
Yes.
Because the longer you hold on to them, the more you deprive yourself of aligned friendships, and you actually are hindering your own growth, your own path, your own success, your own evolution. So you guys are holding each other back. So maybe your soul's contracts were to be in each other's lives for 5 years, 10 years, however long, and then keep it moving. Like, your soul's probably made that agreement of, we'll be here this long, and then we gotta separate, and that's gonna be part of your evolution and their evolution. So don't deprive yourself of that. And remember, like, you're here having a soul experience, like, you're a soul being at your core. So don't let like the little things in the human experience hold back your soul's evolution.
Yeah, and do understand that just because you're wanting to let go of someone doesn't mean that you wish them bad. So understand that. Also, I also want to say, if you are going back and forth whether you want to let go of people and you don't feel like you really have the balls to do so, I would probably say that you're not 100% ready to do so, or 100% ready for the next level up. Because once you reach that level of, I am ready, I'm gonna go for my dreams, I'm gonna go for that higher version of myself, there is nothing that will stand in your way, and there is nothing that anybody can do or say that is going to sway you from your dreams and that next higher version of yourself. So if you are still struggling with wanting to let people go, that tells me that you are not yet in full alignment with yourself. Because once you are, like I said, there's nothing that anyone can say or do that will take you away from your dreams.
So do you feel like you're ready? Like, do you think it's reaching a level of I'm fully ready, or do you think there's still a level of fear, but it's not bigger than your willingness to let go?
I think it could be both.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's never easy to cut people off. You know, I still had like a little voice in the back of my mind that was like, well, you've known this person for this long, like maybe you're overreacting, maybe you should, but I didn't allow for that to overcome what I really wanted to achieve, my next dreams, the next version of myself that I wanted to be, because I told myself, if I go back to that relationship, to that friendship, that's going to put me back in the cycle of always drinking, always gossiping, always reminiscing on what our early 20s were, which was being drunk 5 times a week. And that wasn't the version that I wanted to associate myself with. And anytime that I did want to grow out of that, I was made fun of for doing that. So I had to ask myself, is going back more important than my dreams and the vision that I have for myself? And it was always no. I'm most important now and moving forward. So I do think it's a combination of like, you've just had enough of people's bullshit, or your dreams are bigger than your fears of wanting to let people go.
I like that. And I want to give you guys some advice that I gave to Nat when she was like moving through this, that I would also go back and like give to myself when I was moving through it, which is that if there's somebody in your life that you're getting that feeling of like, I think I need to cut them off, but you're not sure or you're struggling, I want you to think about them in general and think about how they make you feel, and even how you would talk about them. Because that was kind of one of the things that I remember telling Natalie was like, you know, every time you talk about this person, you're just talking about how bad they make you feel. You're always only sharing negative things about them. So to me, that was like a sign that, are they really a good friend to you? Because if you would come to me and speak, you know, positively and how they're nice to you and encouraging you and have like positive things to say about them, then I would be like, yes, keep them in your life, or try to keep them in your life. But if you find that you only have negative experiences, negative emotions, negative thoughts associated with that person, then to me, that's a clear sign that there's someone that needs to be removed from your life.
Yes. I remember being on the Stairmaster and you being like, and I'm like, okay.
Because it's true, because I was like, well, doesn't sound like this person's very nice to you, so I don't know.
Yeah.
You haven't really said anything good about the friendship.
And sometimes we can use the excuse of like, that's just what our friendship is like. That's what it's always been. But most of the time when there are friendships that are based off of making fun of each other, there is always one person that's suffering. Because there's someone in that relationship that gets off of making fun of other people, and the other person is just going along with it just because they don't want to make the other person feel bad, but they're making themselves feel bad for accepting that sort of behavior. So ask yourself, am I that friend that makes others feel bad, or am I that friend that feels bad?
So I want to talk about how once you're ready and you do it, you just reach this level of unbothered. Yes. That feels so good. So I want us to kind of talk about that. Because I'm landing there now.
Yes.
And it is
this
great.
Weekend you literally had 2 instances.
I know, you guys. I don't know what's happening. I want to say some things, but I'm not going to say them.
Yeah, I don't think you should.
I will not say them. I'll say them in my head.
You could generalize, but like,
I'm not going to say them. I will not incriminate myself. I plead the 5th. So what I will say is I was surprised, because I think we do have this idea and this notion as we're growing that letting go is hard, because it is. And as you grow, you actually, what I'm experiencing is get to a place where letting go becomes easier, because you have so much self-love and self-respect that it only makes sense to let go of things that do not align with that. And it's funny because I've had to like recently very much exercise my boundaries and stand up for myself in several situations. And I just like texted Nat and was like, oh my God, why does this feel so good? Because it did. I was surprised. Usually we're scared to stand up. We're scared to set boundaries. I've been scared to do that for years, and it's something I've been really working on. And as soon as I did it, I was like, oh my God, I feel so good. Like, I know I did the right thing because I'm just like detached from it. I don't really care what happens. I don't really care. I'm just like unbothered. And it feels so good.
Yes. I told Natalia, I said, you feel so good because you stood in your power. You set boundaries, and you realize that their energy did not penetrate your energy.
It's so true.
Yes.
Yeah, when someone doesn't faze you anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and you have to get to a level of the self-awareness and the level of loving yourself and putting yourself in your dreams before engaging in someone's pity party and someone wanting to start drama with you.
Yep.
You know, I think you could use discernment and know when you should stand up for yourself and when you should just walk away and don't even give people access to your own energy. You know, you can easily shut down a conversation as simple as I'm not interested in engaging with you and goodbye. You know, my goodness, but I'm just thinking of examples in my mind right now.
If they don't like it, oh well.
Yes, if they don't like it, oh well. And you know, sometimes people want a reaction out of you. Some people will see that you're doing well and they want a reaction out of you.
And
don't give them that reaction.
And it's okay to stand your ground. And I what I'm experiencing too is that in me standing up for myself now, it heals for me all of the past times that I did not stand up for myself. Because there's been so many times where I look back and I'm like, damn, I should have said something. I should have stood up for myself. I wish I would have been more bold, and I wish I would have spoken up, and I didn't because of I wanted to keep the peace.
Fuck the peace, burn the bridge.
But it doesn't keep the peace because I'm not at peace because now I'm carrying all these situations that I wish I would have. So how are you really keeping the peace, and for who? Right? So now I'm keeping the peace for me by setting the boundary. And so in me standing up for myself now, it's like healing all these versions of me that where she did not stand up for herself. And now I'm like, I'm glad, you know, I'm like, now I'm doing it now, and it's not too late to do it now.
Yeah. I mean, we're in our 30s and learning this now. So know that the journey, there's no ending to the journey. There's no destination. The destination is the journey. We're always going to learn every step of the way.
So one of the things I'm experiencing right now, this is how you know you're unbothered. Like, you're literally laughing about it as it's happening. Like, I'm literally watching somebody throw a fit because I'm unbothered, and I feel like they're trying to poke at me from one angle, and I'm just like, nope. So then they're coming back and poking at another angle, and I'm like, nope. And then they come back and like poke at another angle, and I'm just like, nope. Like, I'm just so unbothered that you can throw all the things at me and it just does not faze me. It just does not.
I think it's realizing that your own peace is more important than anything,
and that I am at peace, and you can't take away my peace.
Being unbothered, guys, is like, it's a whole I feel literally oh my god, let me write this down before I forget. Being unbothered is like a whole new level to this human experience. I'm trying to explain it to you guys, but I feel like there's not enough words for me to explain how amazing it feels. Because I move through life as if I'm it. I move through life as if I'm the main character.
Yes.
I make decisions that are best for myself, for my boyfriend, for my cats, for my friends, for my family, and anything outside of that, I could literally give a rat's ass about it. I've reached a level that I don't give a shit what people think about me, what people are saying about me. Like, I know right now, as Natalia calls it, there's a Nats hater club going on. And I'm like...
About both of us, probably.
And I'm like, I quite literally do not give a shit. So it's like, but it's like it's a beautiful level to hit. Because when you hit that, you start up leveling, and I'm seeing it in my business. Like, I have no time for bullshit, and my business has exploded quite literally overnight. Like, it's fucking insane.
I'm just thinking about this when I was over in the tickets, and oh my god, it's just it's madness, you guys.
Okay, and then that's another thing too. It's like, besides like direct people in your life, like, I feel Natalia brought this up and it makes total sense. Like this whole unbothered thing, I had to really work through it because now that the business went viral, I have a lot of people that are mad that are talking crap because they couldn't get tickets because our event sold out. And it's like, you wouldn't be mad at Beyonce because you couldn't get tickets to her sold out concert, like, you know? And so I look at those comments, and old me would have been like, oh my God, people pleaser in me. I need to do this. I need to do that. I need to do this. I need to do that. And now I'm just like, it is what it is. Like, it's out of my control. I did the best that I could. The rest, I need to release it, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
So you just, you just like reach this level that you're just kind of tired of BS, and you reach this level of like your spiritual journey that you realize that like it's not that serious. You know, it's like not that serious. And then also what Natalia and I were talking about the other day is that you are also at peace that there's two sides to every story. You know,
yes,
so
talk about this because that was so good when you said this.
So like I'm okay with the fact that these people that have walked away from my life, that they probably have their own narrative and their own story of what happened, and that's their truth. And I'm okay with that, with whatever they're saying about me. If that is their truth, it is what it is. I can't change that, and I accept their truth. And now I have my side of the story. And I never, like, you know how they say there's always two sides to every story? There is. And both are truth in their own perception. And I'm okay with that. And I think you have to reach a level of understanding that there's two sides to every story, and it is what it is, and there's nothing you can do about it. And if people have their own narrative about you, again, there's nothing you can do about it. It is what it is, you know? So, yeah, it's just, when we were talking about that the other day, I was like, I feel like you just, there's like this level of like up level that you reach that you're just like, you know what, it is what it is. There's two truths, and it's fine. I'm okay with what people are saying if they're saying anything.
And that's how you know you're truly unbothered, because I think what keeps a lot of people stuck is they're scared. Well, if I let that person go, what are they gonna think? What are they gonna feel? What are they gonna say? And first of all, you're trying to control something you cannot control anyway. And second of all, when you get to that point where you're like, you know, I don't give a shit what they think, what they feel, what they say, it does not matter to me more than my peace and my happiness and my self-love and my growth. That is not more important than me. And when you begin to put yourself first, and you begin to put what others will say, think, or feel past you, because you realize it's not even in my control anyway, so I'm just going to take ownership over my own shit and stop worrying about everybody else's, that's when you know you're truly unbothered. And I do think that you have to reach that level in order to grow, and I understand that now. One, because I've seen people who are really big online, they've all talked about how a lot of their growth comes from the haters as much as the people who support them, because all the haters are also feeding the comments and the likes and the views. So the only way they can be where they're at is to have both. And I even had this conversation with Nat, you know, because I think in the last episode we talked about how she literally manifested like going viral, you know, and this was something that she's literally set herself up for, literally manifested. And I straight up told her, I was like, I don't want to go viral because I know what that comes with, right? I know that it comes with like haters and a lot of people pulling at your energy, and people who all of a sudden think that they get to have a say in your life. And I was like, I'm good. Like and this was like intentional and a block for me at the same time of, I don't want to get big because I don't want to deal with people. I just don't. But I feel like in my evolution, I'm called to go beyond where I'm at. So in order to prepare me for that, I feel like I have had to go and am going through that experience of, actually, we're just going to teach you to become unbothered so that you maybe can go viral, or you maybe can, or you can grow into everything that you're meant to grow to, and understand that yeah, you're going to have a lot of eyes on you, and you're going to be so unbothered that it's not going to matter when people give you shit, because you're just not going to care anymore.
You're going to have a lot of eyes on you and side eyes. Bombastic side eye.
And you're just going to be like, eh.
Literally. And you just laugh about it.
Literally.
You laugh all the way to the bank.
You laugh as you count your followers growing. You laugh as you count the ticket sales and the money coming in. To the comments. I would think about him randomly over the weekend and start cracking up. You guys, it's part of the growth. If you truly want to grow and have the business and the life that you dream of, it's gonna require this stage.
Yes.
I really believe that, like, this stage of cutting people off and learning to be unbothered.
And don't fight it. Just allow for it to happen. Allow
Yeah.
for it to happen. Because it's going to happen sooner or later.
If you're growing.
Yeah. But if they're listening to this podcast, I assume that they are.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to happen sooner or later, and it's better sooner rather than later.
Yes.
So choose sooner than later. Oh my goodness. Do we have anything else to say?
I'm just thinking of all the actual... I wish we could just, like, read you guys the examples, because it's hilarious.
Just everything. I wish we could sit here and just, like, give,
Talk
like,
about
details.
it, 'cause
like,
it's so funny.
Details of everything, but it's like, we
can't.
can't do that.
We shall not. Shan't.
Okay. Oh, goodness.
In this experience we've both been having, have you also felt that it has shifted your perspective of time?
I love this question.
Like, do you want me to say more?
I know what you're asking, or at least I think I know what you're asking. I think I haven't thought about it, but right now that you asked me that question, the answer is yes, it has changed my perception of time. To me, it feels like a quantum leap.
Yeah.
It feels like I made a decision, so the universe was like, all right, what could have taken you 5 years to accomplish has now happened overnight.
Literally.
Or with every release that has
Yep.
played in my life this year.
Yes. Yeah.
Is that what you were asking me?
Yeah. I think you said it perfectly, because in my mind it was more like I'm seeing the energetics of it, but I feel like you gave such a beautiful, like, tangible example of what it is, because I don't know why, but I feel like part of this experience for me has really shifted my perception of time. And I was thinking about, because right now I just feel like I don't know what day it is. I like this year, everything feels like a blur right now. And I'm not even worried about time. Like, time, I think I've reached the level in my life where time is an illusion, and I finally understand what that means.
Ew.
What?
Because, oh my God, I love that you're bringing this up, because this year has, right now that you're saying that, it's like connecting the dots for me. Because I think I'm on, like, this level up right now that it is what it is. And I think me, even at the start of the year, would have been like, I'm not married. When the hell am I going to have kids? I haven't done this in business. I haven't blah, blah, blah. But now everything is unfolding and it's happening, and I'm not stressed about it.
Yes.
I
It's like
love that you
you're
said that.
realizing that things can change very quickly, and that
Yes.
time is literally an illusion. Time is not anything.
And you know what's funny is that lately I've been saying I'm ready for kids. Even though I'm not married. I have to be married before having children, by the way.
I'm ready. I'll let Dan know. I'm ready for you to have kids.
No, we have to have babies at the same time.
Damn it. Well, time is an illusion, so my man's going to appear out of nowhere.
Yes,
We're both going to be married.
exactly.
We're going to have kids.
Exactly.
But, okay, like, this is my very, like, crazy thoughts. When I was on my walk this morning, I was, like, thinking about time and how time feels weird to me right now. Like, time is not a thing for me right now. And I think it's part of this experience. And so when I was on my walk, I was realizing, okay, as humans, we're taught that time is linear.
Mm-hmm.
But now, in the way that I have ascended, I just see time as a single dot. And within that dot, everything is happening all at the same time.
Oh, I love that.
And when we're just living in a dot where there's always multiple realities, there's no past, there's no present, there's no future. Everything is just happening all at once. And I don't even know how to like really explain that, but I think that you get to a point in your evolution where that just makes sense. And so that's why in Nat's reality, she was able to like, because it's not linear. If it was linear, this probably would take Natalie like 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
But because time is not linear and she's not living within a linear time frame, because she has evolved so past that, because she's ascended past that, and she's like no longer restricting herself to a linear time frame. So because she removed that, the universe is like, here, within your dot, we can just make shit appear. And I think that when you move out of a linear time frame and you understand that it's all just happening at the same time, then you realize that shit will just appear in your existence in this moment, because it's not about time.
I love that.
Like, it's just alignment.
Holy shit. Immediately, I got the zoomed out vision of like Earth and the universe and how everything is happening at once.
Yep.
But yet somehow
Literally.
we think it's a line.
Yes.
It's like, it's not a line.
No, it's not a line. It's not. And that's why it's like that. I think that's why you're also feeling like, I'm ready to be a mom. It's like, if you think of time linearly, that doesn't make sense, right? Because in a linear timeline, it's you get engaged, you get married, and then you have babies. But because you're in the dot now, in this dot, it's like, oh, you can want to have babies and your business be exploding and all the things. It's not 1, 2, 3.
That's very humanist.
Yes.
To think of time like that.
Yeah. And I feel like I'm still trying to figure out exactly how or why letting people go, why it's tied to time. I'm not really sure. I just know that it is.
I don't think it's time. I think it's space. They take up space.
Ooh, you're so right.
Yes. They don't take up time. They take up space.
These people were dragging you down because their energy was so dense that they were keeping you in the linear timeline. And so when you released them, you released that dense energy that was dragging you down. So you were able to ascend and elevate past the linear timeline. And now you're able to exist in the time and space where anything can happen at any moment. And that's why we have to let people go. People, places, things. And then you ascend, and all of a sudden time is like, because I've heard people say this too, like, actually, I first heard my coach say this a while ago and I didn't understand it. She was like, she said something about like, time is just different for me. Like when you get to this level, time it's different. And she didn't really go into it, but I just sat with that and I was like, I wonder what that means. And now I'm like, I get it. Time does move very differently.
It does. And it's funny because I see time as kind of like, it's like in bulks.
Yes.
It's
like chunks of.
Yes, it's chunks.
Yeah.
The way I'm seeing it and the way kind of like how I move through my days and my weeks. I don't structure things by Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's in chunks of time and what needs to be done.
Yep.
But I'm not tied to any specific timeline.
No, like no more like I'm not on this like schedule of like work and like that's not how I move anymore. I move based on like being and what's feeling good. I'm not like oh, I have to do like this and that and like you know, there's moments where we need to sit and get shit done, but that's not my overall. I'm just being now. That's it.
You know, it's funny. I'm getting the vision of like your higher self and your like full embodiment of a brand and your man like floating above you. And like they're just kind of like both are just kind of ready to fall into your lap.
I receive. Yep. And that's so funny. Say it, continue.
And I'm seeing it as both of those things are working behind the curtain at the same time, which is why time is an illusion, because at any moment both can fall into your lap.
Yes. And then it's like when it happens, like shit could change so fast.
Yeah.
I know, and I've always known that. Even intuitively, I've been feeling recently, like as soon as my man walks into my life is going to be turned upside down.
1000%.
Like in a really good way. Where it's just like, oh shit.
Yeah. Not turned upside down. You're going to be elevated.
Yes. Elevated.
I'll be up into space.
Ascending with him.
Space.
Space. We're the Spice Girls now.
Oh my goodness.
Also, like, related but not related. This is what my family has to deal with. The other day at breakfast, I was sitting there, and no one understood this, but I feel like you guys will get it. Because time has just really been on my mind. I was sitting at breakfast with my family, and I was like, you guys, have you ever thought about how weird time zones are? Because if you think about it, like...
Oh my God, I hate you. I was talking to Dan about this the other day.
Literally, I was like, time zones are weird because if right now we go to the East Coast, they're in the future.
Yes.
And if you go to Hawaii, they're in the past. So technically, when you go on an airplane, you're traveling through time.
Yes.
And they were like, they didn't get it. They were just like, yeah, I guess we kind of get it. And I was like, but do you get it? Do you get what I'm saying? And I was like, they don't get it. I was like, I need to find my people to say this to because they don't get what I'm saying.
Yes. This was, when was it? I think it was a couple of days ago when when he was on, when he was streaming with his friend from New Zealand. He has like an online pen pal sort of thing.
Now that weirds me out because I'm like, he was freaking with someone in the future or the past, wherever.
And to him, it was 7 p.m., but the following day, when for him it's like 7 p.m. our night.
How is he not in the future?
Exactly.
He's in the future.
Exactly. And then when you think of space, I think we're in the past, right?
Yeah, I mean, depending on what.
You're always in the past. Actually, when you're looking from space with how light travels. You're always looking at stuff from the past. So...
Wait, we are? Or, like, from if you were out there?
I think it doesn't matter, like, where you go.
Like, we're in the past.
We're in the past.
Which is why when you freaking align yourself to the universe, shit just... It's like, we're just trying to catch up to reality.
Yeah.
The reality that already exists. And the less dense we become and the more spiritual we become and the more embodied we become, the faster that shit can drop into our reality.
And I was telling Dan, I'm like, why time zones? Like, why not just make everything the same if time is real?
Uh-huh. Yeah,
like
that's so funny. That's literally what I said. I was like, time, like clearly time's not real because we made up time zones. Like, who decided that?
Yeah, like, who decides that his friend isn't the next day?
Yeah,
like,
and if we removed that, we would just all be living at the same time. So that's why it's a freaking dot. It's not linear. You guys, these are literally the conversations we have.
I feel like if you're on a spiritual path, you'll understand
if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't.
You'll understand our thought process. Because I think when you reach a level on your spiritual journey, you realize that everything that you've been taught that is real is actually not real. Because at the end of the day, it's nothing. And if you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying. If you don't, I'm sorry. You're not that far
You'll get it one day.
Yes.
No, but that does happen because there's been spiritual people that I follow online and I'm just like, what in the hell are they saying? And then after a few months, I'm like, I get it. You know, so even if you don't get something, but you're intrigued by it, stay open.
Yes.
Because one day it will make sense to you.
Yeah. Yes. For me, I think it's a lift of everything. Like, you lift everything. You detach from everything. You detach from your physical. You detach from time. You detach from people's energies. You just realize that you're a spiritual being in this mass universe.
Yep.
And that anything and everything is possible. And you don't have to hit certain milestones to get to the next thing, because that's a human concept. Oh my gosh.
We just blew our own minds.
I'm so obsessed. And this is why you need to surround yourself with like-minded people, which is why I appreciate Natalia so much, because I feel like if she wasn't on a healing spiritual sort of journey, I don't think this relationship could work, and vice versa. Because I think you reach a level of being awakened and aware that you just cannot relate to someone that continues to be on the 3D human realm. It just isn't possible. So it's always good to find a group of people that are on that journey, you know, and can also challenge you to think beyond yourself.
Yep.
So
You will outgrow people, and that's okay. That's actually a really good sign that you're growing.
I was going to say it's a good thing to outgrow people. If people are outgrowing you, girl, look in the mirror. But
if you're outgrowing people, that's a good thing. That means you're moving. That means you're evolving, and that's how it should be. And some people will grow with you. Others will grow out of you. It is what it is.
I love this episode.
I feel like every week we're like, this episode is so good.
But I feel like this one is probably our best one yet.
Oh, what do you guys think?
So good. I feel like it's so perfect for the Aries full moon. It was very spicy. And we thank you guys for being here.
Yeah.
And again, know that it's all coming from a place of love, because we want the best for you. If we didn't care about your well-being, we would just throw sunshine, rainbows, and flowers on everything. We would put a Band-Aid on it. You know, so without exposing the wound and actually letting it heal, we don't put Band-Aids on shit. We expose it and let your body heal.
We're just doing surgery on your soul. It hurts, but it'll be good for you.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, I think it's time for us to close out now.
Yes.
But don't forget to submit your anonymous question for What Would Nat Do? If you're interested in being a part of the workshop, get a ticket. The link in our bio on Instagram. And I think that's it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the workshop. Buy your ticket. Did you say that?
Yeah. Dude, I was like,
I just wanted to make sure.
And happy full moon. We'll be releasing this on a Monday. The full moon is on a Friday. So work with this energy, guys.
Yeah.
Work with this energy. But thank you so much for joining us. And don't forget to subscribe, like, leave a review. And then we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.